And meanwhile, as the level of debt climbs relentlessly, some economists and indeed Kenyans are still worried about the cost of carrying that debt amid proposals to raise the debt ceiling. Nambale Member of Parliament Sakwa Bunyasi also says this is the right time to debate his bill, the Public Debt Management Authority Bill 2020, that he says will tame the government's huge borrowing appetite. The former principal economist at the World Bank proposes to have the country's borrowing controlled by a semi-autonomous authority, saying it is time the government lived within its means. And TV's Kennedy Muredi has more details.
Parliament has been mulling over plans to expand the public debt ceiling from the current 9 trillion shillings for development spending. This proposal may just find itself on Parliament's to-do list as soon as it resumes, bearing in mind that the public debt is very near to the roof. But also pending in Parliament are proposals on how to tame the government's huge borrowing appetite.
If you use the Central Bank data, which I personally do not think it's correct, they are saying that our total debt is 7.3, something about 7.4. Earlier on, we had a debate in which the numbers were about 8.4 trillion.
Economists have warned that the country was borrowing too much money, the public debt was ballooning so fast, and that economic ruin would be inevitable. But while the economy hasn't drowned in the flood of red ink, Nambale MP Sakwa Bunyasi, an economist who has previously worked with the World Bank, says the country is walking a tightrope and may just find itself in more trouble than it already is.
If you can't afford it, think twice whether you should spend on it now. You can't fleaser your way through life. But not that's essentially what the country is doing. It's fleasering through life because there have been people who have been willing to give money.
The MP whose bill, the Public Debt Management Authority 2020, is in the second reading, is calling on Parliament's leadership to prioritize it.
The bill is intended to take the country to an area of professional management of resources. Political leadership, because they are the ones who decide where and how much money will be spent, is not being touched. They continue to do that. We are just saying, don't just think that this is a good project. Analyze it rigorously.
The bill, among other proposals, seeks to establish an independent state agency to review the purposes for all borrowing proposals floated by the National Treasury and advise the National Assembly on the feasibility of the loan. It also provides that due diligence be carried out on the government's debt-funded projects in terms of their actual costs and economic returns to avert further loss of taxpayers' funds through inflated costs by corrupt state officers. Kenyans have fussed over the government's borrowing appetite and spending culture, especially after the IMF approved a 256 billion shillings facility to help the country deal with the ravages of the COVID-19 pandemic. Sources intimate that plans are afoot to raise the debt ceiling to 12 trillion shillings. Kennedy Muredi, NTV.